Get ready to embark on a thrilling journey as we follow the story of a highly skilled Chinese fighter. As he travels to Japan to further his education, he is met with devastating news: his teacher has been brutally murdered. He doesn't let this stop him, and he makes the brave decision to go back to China and get justice for his fallen mentor. It's important to remember that this all takes place during a dark and tumultuous time in history, with Japan occupying a significant portion of China. So, what will our fearless hero do in the face of such adversity? Our story starts in Japan, where our protagonist, Shin, is making the most of his time as a student. However, when a group of hostile Japanese discover his presence, they storm into the classroom and confront the teacher, ordering Shin to leave the country immediately. Tensions reach a boiling point when one of the students tries to attack Mitsuko, who bravely steps in to defend the beaten student. Shin takes out all of the attackers with lightning-fast moves and powerful blows that leave onlookers amazed at his strength and skill. The calm before the storm is shattered when a man named Fumo enters the scene, eager to uncover the source of the commotion. As Shin steps forward, Fumo learns that he is from the prestigious Jingwu school. This revelation stuns Fumo, as he recently read in the newspapers of the death of teacher Wang, the head of the Jingwu school, in a battle against a Japanese fighter. With a heavy heart, Shin seeks permission from Fumo to return to China and uncover the truth behind his teacher's death. Mitsuko, filled with love and concern for Shin, promises to wait for his return. Shin sets his sights on returning to China only after Japan leaves, due to the widespread occupation that is currently taking place. Upon his arrival in China, Shin finds that the once revered Jingwu school has lost its reputation following the death of its leader. Determined to restore its honor, Shin makes his way to the school. Once inside, he is greeted by the sight of Ting, the teacher's son, engaged in a fierce battle with a Japanese challenger. Ting, a formidable fighter in his own right, effortlessly deflects each and every attack from his opponent. With grace and ease, Ting emerges victorious, delivering a clear message to the Japanese opponent: they are not welcome at the Jingwu school. Shin is warmly welcomed by the school and its members, including Uncle No, the teacher's brother. Even though Uncle No didn't tell Shin about the teacher's death at first so that it wouldn't get in the way of his studies, he now has to face the truth. Ting steps in, asserting that Shin should be considered the teacher's son, having been raised and trained by him. This strengthens Shin's right to honor his late teacher with traditional rituals. Despite Uncle No's objections, Shin is determined to confront the Japanese fighter responsible for the teacher's death. Ting, eager to join Shin on his quest for justice, is stopped by his Uncle No, who reminds him of his new role as the head of the school. When Shin arrives at the school and inquires about the Japanese fighter, he encounters opposition from the students. Despite their efforts to push him out, Shin's determination to uncover the truth leads to an intense battle. Shin easily beats each student one by one with his impressive martial arts skills, which show how strong and quick he is. It is then that the Japanese fighter arrives on the scene, challenging Shin to a fight. The fight starts, and Shin uses the same moves that his fallen teacher taught him. Throughout the fight, Shin is determined to uncover the truth behind his teacher's death. With each strike, he grows more suspicious that something was amiss in the previous fight between his teacher and the Japanese fighter. Shin keeps asking the Japanese fighter questions because he wants to honor his teacher's memory and get answers about why he died. And he throws him on the ground next to his colleague, and he comes out of the place that was filled with police and students from Jingwu. The Japanese ambassador arrives with the strongest fighter in all of Japan. This fighter is called the General. So Shin and those with him leave. Later that evening, a forensic doctor arrived to perform an examination on the deceased teacher's body, searching for any evidence of poisoning. Even though the tune smelled terrible, Shin felt compelled to take matters into his own hands. He opened the body and took the liver out himself so he could get a better look. With a newfound sense of purpose, Shin threw himself into his training regimen, drawing on the lessons he learned in Japan and incorporating them with his own traditional Chinese kung fu techniques to become even stronger. His amazing skills and unique way of doing martial arts quickly got the attention of the other students, who flocked to him in droves to learn his powerful and unique moves. As news of Shin's unparalleled abilities spread, even more students flocked to the school to train with him. However, the teacher's uncle warned them that they should first learn from Ting, as he was the designated instructor and not Shin. That same evening, Ting paid a visit to a secret hideaway, where he was reunited with his girlfriend, whom he had been keeping hidden from the school. Excited to see him, she eagerly asked when he would finally reveal their relationship to the world. Ting replied that he would make their love known to all when the time was right. Meanwhile, the Japanese fighter entered the room, spotting the general and inquiring about the topic of Master Wang. He wanted to know if the general had used poison in their fight against Master Wang. The general coolly admitted that he had indeed used poison, as he wouldn't have been able to defeat Master Wang otherwise. It became clear that the general's ultimate goal was to eliminate the leaders and teachers of all martial arts schools, as they represented the resistance against Japan and were the only obstacle standing in the way of their domination of China. This revelation incensed the fighter, leading him to lash out in anger and attack the general. However, the general was on a completely different level, possessing an unmatched level of skill and strength. With ease, he overpowered the fighter, sending him flying through the air before bringing him crashing down in a shattered, lifeless heap. The sight of the general's raw power left even the Japanese ambassador trembling in fear. As night fell, Shin continued his discussion with Uncle No, trying to piece together who might have been responsible for the teacher's death. However, the uncle seemed preoccupied with thoughts about Shin himself. In a candid conversation, the uncle acknowledged that all the students held great respect for Chen and were more eager to train with him than with Ting, who was officially the teacher at the school. Uncle No offered a gentle warning to Chen, encouraging him to handle the situation carefully so as not to inadvertently hurt Ting's feelings. With the arrival of dawn, Chen set out for his morning run. Meanwhile, the general, unable to tolerate Chen's killing of their fighter, sent a group of fighters from Japan to storm Jingwu School and eliminate Chen. Though this was portrayed as retaliation for the fighter's death, it was in actuality an excuse for the general to eliminate Chen. Upon arriving at the school, Ting refused to surrender Chen, even though he was present, and declared war on the Japanese invaders. All the students of the school rallied to defend their school and the sacred place of their teacher. Just as the conflict reached its climax, the police arrived on the scene and arrested Chen to investigate the murder of the Japanese fighter. In court, four false witnesses testified that Chen was responsible for the fighter's death. Before the judge announces his verdict, Mitsuko, who hails from Japan, steps in to help Chen. She testifies in court that Chen was with her in a hotel on the day in question, as they are in love with each other. Her testimony is believed as she comes from a prominent Japanese family and is willing to vouch for a Chinese, which is considered unusual. Chen is eventually released as a result. However, Chen's friends are not happy with the fact that he is in love with a Japanese girl and refuse to allow her to stay with them at Jingwu School. This leads to a heated discussion among them. Ting becomes angry during the conversation and challenges Chen to a fight, saying that if he wins, he will become the new head of the school. The fight between Chen and Ting begins with Ting displaying his full force and strength. Despite Ting's relentless attacks, Chen tries to defend himself without causing harm, showing restraint in his movements. This frustrates Ting and leads him to attack more aggressively. However, when Ting's blows become too much for Chen to handle, he finally enters full combat mode, showcasing his speed and skill. He dodges all of Ting's attacks and throws him to the ground multiple times, leaving Ting unable to move and requiring assistance from the other students. When Ting offers Chen the position of head of the school, Chen declines the offer, stating that he will not take on the role if Mitsuko, his girlfriend from Japan, is not accepted by the rest of the students. When Chen and Mitsuko attempt to check into a hotel, the staff refuses to admit them due to Mitsuko's Japanese heritage. Chen decides to bring Mitsuko to his former teacher's grave and fix it up instead. Meanwhile, Uncle No is concerned about Ting, as he has disappeared from the school and no one knows where he is. This worry intensifies when Japanese fighters arrive and inform Uncle No that they are challenging the school's teacher to a battle, and Mitsuko's uncle, Fumo, will be the opponent. As for the cook, he is seen talking to one of the students about money, revealing that he was the one who poisoned the teacher with the assistance of the student. But when the student got tired of the cook's constant talking, he strangled him with a rope, which killed the cook. When the other students enter the room, they find the cook hanging from the ceiling and initially believe that he committed suicide. But upon searching the kitchen, they find remnants of the same poison that was found in the body of the teacher, leading them to conclude that the cook was the one who poisoned the teacher. Later on, a young woman who has feelings for Ting comes to seek help from his uncle, explaining that Ting's health has taken a turn for the worse. While on the way, Uncle No realizes that the woman truly loves Ting and is afraid for him. As a result, Ting agrees to return to the school with him to face the Japanese fighter Fumo, and the young woman agrees to accompany them. Ting resumes his training, but it becomes evident that his lack of training has caused him to become fatigued, leading to a defeat by one of the students. At this point, Fumo is speaking with a general, who orders him to defeat Ting, the teacher at Jingwu School, as he is seen as an obstacle in their path. Therefore, Fumo sets out to challenge Chun, thinking that he needs to defeat him. However, as the fight progresses, Fumo realizes that Chen is a formidable opponent and begins to question him about his fighting techniques, seeking to improve his own skills. The battle commences, with Chen exhibiting his strength and mastery of the art. However, Fumo uses the same techniques that Chen employs to throw him off balance and gain the upper hand. However, as a heavy storm approached, Fumo's vision was impaired, and so Chen suggested that they both close their eyes and continue the fight using quick moves, showcasing their mastery of Kung Fu. Eventually, both fighters fell to the ground at the same time. In this moment, Fumo shared some wisdom with Chen, advising him to be fluid like water and adapt his fighting style to match his opponent. He also warned Chen that the strongest fighter in Japan was the general and urged him to be cautious when facing him in battle. Later that night, Ting visits Chen's place, but instead he finds Mitsuko. She informs Ting that Chen is away on a trip and will return shortly. Chen eventually comes back and has a conversation with Ting. Ting proposes that he and Mitsuko should return to school, but Chen believes it would create problems and does not want to cause any trouble. Mitsuko listens to their entire conversation. Ting demonstrates a new technique that he has learned and asks Chen to teach it to the students in case something happens to him. After Ting leaves, Chen notices a message from Mitsuko indicating that she is returning to Japan. She wants to avoid becoming a burden to Chen and wants to stand beside her family. She promises to wait for him until he finishes and can come to her. The scene depicts the general engaging in intense training that displays his immense strength and solidity. The training is so grueling that he is hit repeatedly with pieces of wood, yet he remains unaffected by it. As Ting prepares to leave for his fight against Fumo, he bids farewell to the students and faculty of the school. However, he is surprised to find Chen arriving at the same time, and he asks Chen to accompany him. But there is a hitch: Fumo has already left the country and returned to Japan, so the general decides to handle the situation himself and challenges Ting to a fight. Upon reaching the school, Ting and Chen are met by the general, who declares that he will be the one to fight Ting. However, prior to the battle, the general revealed the identity of the Chinese student who murdered the cook and poisoned the teacher. Without hesitation, the general executed the student, considering him a traitor. He instructed all soldiers to step aside and clear the area for the fight. He also presented a sign with the word closed on it and challenged Ting to break the sign to prevent the school from being shut down. Despite putting forth great effort, Ting's attacks proved ineffective against the formidable general, who fought with only one hand. Ting was eventually overpowered and fell to the ground, unable to rise. Chen joins the fight and starts striking fast and powerful blows on the general's sturdy physique. The general's immense strength allows him to deliver a hefty hit to Chen, but Chen manages to strike close to the general's eyes. Despite being hit hard, Chen persists in the fight. The two fighters engage in a mythical battle, with the general relentlessly delivering powerful punches towards Chen, causing him to fall to the ground. Chen is about to surrender, but he recalls Fumo's advice and fights back with the same style as the general, who emphasizes precision and power. Chen delivers powerful strikes to the general until he knocks him down, and he is unable to rise. As Chen and Ting attempt to depart, the general becomes enraged and reaches for his sword, aiming to kill Chen. However, Ting blocks the blow, resulting in an injury to his arm. Infuriated, Chen unsheathes his belt and beats the general until he retrieves his sword from his belt and kills the general outright, causing shock among those witnessing the scene. The general's body falls lifeless to the ground. The Japanese army, accompanied by the ambassador, entered with the intention of killing Chen. However, they were met by the Chinese police along with Uncle No. To avoid a war between China and Japan, the ambassador offers to resolve the situation by asking Chen to surrender. Unbeknownst to all, they fake Chen's death and leave in a car, heading back to Japan. Chen is able to start a new life with the woman he loves after successfully seeking revenge for the death of his mentor. Please don't forget to give us a like and share your thoughts in the comments section so we can provide you with comprehensive summaries.